I know we're all excited for the release of Operation Motherland, but I'm already looking forward and towards the future and what the future may hold for the Ghost Recon franchise. So I sat down and I thought about systems that we need to see created and the gameplay mechanics that can be improved upon so we can finally get to a place on how we can make Ghost Recon great again. Number 1. AI teammates and squad size. We've gotten to the point where we see in our Ghost Recon games and other various Ubisoft IPs that they have the ability to make tremendously large open world games. So it should come as no surprise that with these open world games should come the ability to play with larger squads. It's time we see large scale operations that can resemble an Armor Light type of campaign. I know a lot of people were unhappy with the reveal of Ghost Recon Frontline, but the one benefit that might come from this IP is the fact that Ubisoft's underlying infrastructure is now there to allow a higher player count. So co-op and AI teammate squad sizes should be increased. On top of that, the AI teammates order wheel should finally be improved upon. The ability to move your teammates individually, hold them at different locations individually, and tell them to open fire and hold fire while they obey your move to and hold commands would be a tremendous step forward, on top of breaching commands and things of that nature. Ubisoft has a lot of work ahead of them if they truly want to revolutionize the Ghost Recon franchise relative to squad size and AI commands. Number 2. Enemy AI improvements. Enemies need to look like they operate as a unit. Suppression mechanics alongside leapfrogging, cover to cover while pushing forward to the player, remaining behind cover, not pushing forward towards the player in unrealistic circumstances like what we see with shotgunners in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, where certain enemy behaviors make it seem like they have no regard for their lives. Enemies also need to be programmed to react to foliage, fog, smoke grenades, and nighttime accordingly. Overall, a substantial amount of effort needs to go into the enemy artificial intelligence systems alongside these specific gameplay mechanics. Number 3. The Gunsmith. People want their Gunsmith to be vast, with incredible options that simulate real-life customization. Let people create their own variants through the Gunsmith and allow for ghillie and cloth wrapping as well. Number 4. A gear management system. Tiered loot and gear score was a step in the wrong direction. We need a gear system that doesn't give us arbitrary stats. We need a gear system that allows for the player to uniquely tailor their character to exactly how they want to play. So if a player wants to be quick and agile, they would be focused on equipping less gear overall, smaller vests, lower magazine count, less grenades, less tactical gear that provides them protection against bullets. This is how you create a true system of gear management, and this provides a class system in itself, as teams will have to organize according to what their loadouts are going to be prior to the mission. Number 5. A synergy between linear storytelling and navigation within an open world. Ubisoft Paris needs to figure out how to balance their huge open worlds with their mission design structure. Fast traveling and the utilization of helicopters is all too often familiar to players, and the need for the player to move from one side of the map to the other during the campaign happens too often and takes the player out of the immersive landscape that world designers have created. Mission designers need to figure out how to progress the character through the map slowly and not push the player to use helicopters and fast travel mechanics to get around the campaign. After the campaign, this is irrelevant. However, during the campaign story, designers should pay close attention to where Mission A and Mission B are, as they should be in close proximity to each other. Keeping the player on the ground within the game world, allowing for more scripted events, provides the development team to create a much more immersive campaign. Number 6. Bigger cities and compounds and less empty space. As we move into the next generation of gaming, Ubisoft should have no problem creating larger cities and compounds for players to fight in. These compounds in Breakpoint all seem to be relatively the same size. We need huge sprawling compounds with tons of enemies that provide serious challenges to the player base. Number 7. Connecting the world infrastructure. Power grids, radio towers, etc. should all have interconnecting systems with the world around it. Destroy a radio tower and communication should go out in that province. Destroy the power grid and the lights are down. Destroy SAM sites and they should only be replaced with a game mechanic outside of the respawning system. Have systems programmed to deploy AI to quote-unquote fix these areas. Have the civilian population react to these things with a system of consequences. Less intel, certain areas with civilians affected by player choices become hostile. A true living and breathing open world needs to allow for pros and cons of player choices while playing the game. Number 8. Gore. Gunplay and battles are the heart to any shooter, and a natural feel to these gunfights and battles are important. One component that I'm big on supporting is gore. Enemies should lose limbs, and bodies should be torn apart in the chaos of war. Enemies shouldn't always be programmed to die right away. Design them to yell and scream on the floor with missing limbs. Animate the agony of dying men on the ground. Create the feeling of war and everything that comes along with it on the battlefield. Number 9. A realistic magazine system. Bullets should be distributed via magazines along with a proper reload mechanic like tactical versus combat reloads. Ammo pools need to be done away with in our tactical shooters, and we need to get back to a place where players cycle through magazines so your combat and tactical reloads have meaning. Number 10. Ballistics and suppressors. Developers should move away from Hollywood and this old school thought of suppressors equals silence. We need real sounding suppressors that enemies still react to in a confused state. For instance, in Ghost Recon, more enemies should go on yellow alert when shooting a suppressor, signaling that they heard the shot but perhaps can't distinguish where it's coming from just yet. This can also lead into a ballistic system where players can choose subsonic rounds versus supersonic rounds and tie the ballistics into distance, bullet drop, and damage done. A huge undertaking should be done within the ballistic system in Ghost Recon, and the mechanic behind it can be amazing if done correctly, allowing for players to tailor how their weapons shoot with the choices of subsonic, supersonic, barrel lengths, and suppressor types. These top 10 ways to make Ghost Recon great again are just some examples of how Ubisoft can really sit down and focus on building systems that matter for this genre and would completely revolutionize Ghost Recon. We've come too far with these mechanics that are unrealistic and don't fit to keep pushing forward with these ideas that the Ghost Recon community doesn't want. Ghost Recon Frontline was a perfect example of how creative developers are not seeing eye to eye with the community and players who want to purchase or play these types of games. So, Ghosts, what do you think about these top 10 ideas on how to make Ghost Recon great again? What are some ideas that you've had that you think would be beneficial to making this franchise be the best it can be? Comment down below and we'll discuss the ideas like always. Alright Ghosts, that's all for now. Everyone have a great day and I will see you all in the next video. Alright guys, peace.